This more than made up for Rollout, and it was way better than New Japan Pro Wrestling's Power Struggle event that took place earlier today. That show wasn't very good. I'm John Rentham with my review of AEW Full Gear 2020. I want to say right now, I will have a few things I'm going to critique, but a few of these matches are going to end up on my favorite matches of the year list. Only one match is going to end up on my worst matches of the year list, and I think you can guess which one. But I would love to know what you guys have to say in the comments, but with over 4 hours of action, if you count the first 30 minutes of video packages, let's get started on this. So, just the video packages are tremendous, great sports-based feel. They really make these feuds actually mean something, especially the Kingston Moxley ones. That's fucking great. Excalibur and Shivani on commentary. JR joins for the main show. Serena Dee versus Sienna, aka Allison Kay. I end up calling her both, even though Allison Kay is what she's gone by. Sienna is what she went by in Impact Wrestling NWA Women's Championship. And this was really good. Allison Kay, with her history with the NWA Women's Championship, going back to when Thunder Rosa beat her, ending her long reign at NWA Hard Times. Great back and forth. These women tore the house down. This is what you do. This is how you do a buy-in. You don't put comedy stuff out there. You put two premier, world-traveled, young enough, but, veteran enough women. They can still go. They can do some great stuff. You can tell they know what they're doing, and they told a good story, even with the fact that it wasn't really built up all that well on TV because it was just kind of thrown together. They told a good story. Serena won with the Serenity Lock, but Allison Kay got in plenty of offense. They need to sign her. That's all I'm going to say right there. This was good stuff. Thunder Rosa shows up, demands her rematch. I'd love to see that again because I love their match on Primetime Live. Though not quite as good as Thunder Rosa versus Priscilla Kelly on Primetime Live, one of my favorite matches of the year. Allison Kay, though, please sign Allison Kay, AEW, please. Throw some money at her. You are throwing some money at people that really, quite frankly, shouldn't even be on the show. And I'm not even talking about women. I'm just talking about talents in general. You need more talented women. You need to build your women's division. So, Eddie's family is there. Why was the butcher dressed like he was a deep south farmer, like he wanted somebody to squeal like a piggy? I don't get it. Eddie's all fired up for the main event tonight. JR arrives. Great opening video package. Great sports-based feel. All that. Don Callis joins to basically put over Kenny Omega like he did in New Japan. Here's the problem. Don Callis putting over Kenny Omega, I get it. They have history. All this stuff back from when Omega first broke into wrestling. I get it. I'm sorry. Don Callis really isn't all that good on commentary. He's not. He knows his wrestling. He does. He's certainly better than Josh Matthews in Impact Wrestling. But then again, if you could put a freaking mannequin out there and it basically has more personality than Josh Matthews. But Don Callis, he has history with Omega. I don't think he was needed here. I mean, I get it and I don't. I mean, maybe they're trying to have a working relationship with Impact Wrestling, which is fine. It will benefit both companies, especially Impact, because by God, after some bullshit they did with a wedding segment, they certainly need more positive buzz. There were two women with brooms. About time they did some housework. Man, that can't possibly get me in trouble. But in all seriousness, the women are just there to do the cleaner thing. Omega and Paige, World Title Eliminator Finals. Callis, Kenny Omega was a legend in Japan. In whose mind, exactly? I can think of a lot of people that were legends in Japan before Kenny Omega. Now, I'm not saying Omega was not over, and I'm not saying fans didn't love him. And I'm not saying that he wasn't respected over there by quite a few of the fans. He did have a following. Legend, I wouldn't go that far. Legend gets bantered about way too much. The thing is, I know some people are going to be down on this match. People are probably going to expect me to be down on this match. I'm going to surprise you guys. Since it went 17 minutes, I think, something like that. It didn't go 27. I actually liked it. I think Paige and Omega cut a really good pace here. They proved that they knew each other really well from teaming together, but also calling back to their stuff in Japan, from Paige observing what Omega did in his big matches, since he was bouncing around between Ring of Honor and New Japan. Great strikes, a quick pace, some guardrail spots, we get some flippy shit. Yes, the finger pointing thing, I can't really unsee it. I mean, and I remember first seeing Omega years and years ago. I'm like, why is he doing the finger? I don't get it. It's not for me, though. Some people think Kenny Omega is one of the best in the world, and that's fine if you do. I don't, but I think he has greatness in him when you have the right opponent with him. And I think him and Paige worked well together. I'm not saying I want to see a series where these guys fight every week, but I wouldn't mind seeing a world title program at some point, which is what they're going to do. Omega, however, cannot hit a punch to save his goddamn life, but he can do some really impressive flippy shit. And then a powerbomb on the apron by Paige. We get Tiger Driver 98 for 2. We get the Deadeye for 2. We get Moose Spammy, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. One Wing Angel, almost countered, but not countered. 1, 2, 3. Kenny Omega winning. And you know what? It was a good call, but it was a good, clean finish. And it was shorter than I think a lot of people thought. So I'm going to give this, match a lot of praise. I really enjoyed it. This was a great way to open. What wasn't a great way to follow it up, though, was Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. Orange Cassidy has his fans, that's fine. The Dark Order had their fans, that's fine. I'm not saying that John Silver's a bad athlete. I'm not saying Orange Cassidy's a bad athlete. Didn't care. Typical antics. John Silver rips the pockets out of the pants. So he can't do the thing. And I didn't care. Yeah, and there we go. Beach break, by the way, for 3. Yeah, Orange Cassidy wins. Gotta give the people what they want. The hug. Darby arrives in an old Mazda and smashes the windshield. Then Cody's entrance is out of control. And I'm not talking about his theme. Cody's entrance. Cody talks about how Triple H has an inflated ego and everything. Cody, you're a fucking heel. Just fucking admit it. I mean, but anyway. Well, the Elite are all fucking conservative anyway, so, except they're not conservative with other people's money. Moving on. The Nepotism Project also came out there because the entire Nightmare family, it's bigger than the NWO at its height, for God's sake. It's ridiculous. So, he's Cody Rhodes again. That is cool. It was bullshit that WWE did that stuff. Mike Chioda's the referee. I want to say right now, Cody versus Darby on my favorite matches of the year list. I don't know how high, because I got to work on this stuff, because it's going to be NWA, Primetime Live, AEW, New Japan, WWE, and I'm putting them all in that order. It's going to be a lot. Probably going to have to be a top 50 in a few videos. But Cody versus Darby for the TNT Championship, 60-minute time limit, and I think it was at the time the longest match on the show for until the tag team title match. JR legit got confused with a lot of the stuff he was trying to do here. Darby's dives are great. He just makes it look like he's hurling himself at you. Arn, arm and shoulder focus. Arn is kind of like yelling to Cody to finish him off and everything. He wants to watch Cody finish him off. Gross. And, slaps and strikes. You get an avalanche crossroads from the top. Ow. Ow. Darby also wishes to leave this mortal realm sooner, and I don't get it. Just a fall. It's like the thing where Vader had Cactus Jack hanging from him, and then did the thing on the ramp at Halloween Havoc 93, except Cody did that off the ropes. Darby, again, wishes to leave this mortal realm. So, yeah, Cody gets overconfident. Last Supper for 2. Coffin drop for 2. We get roll-up reversal, because Cody did try to do the belt thing at one point, got tripped up and almost pinned. Reversals, and then Darby gets a shocking 3 count. Darby Allin wins the TNT Championship. Good. And Cody almost looked like he proposed to him, for God's sakes. He offered him the championship. In all seriousness, this is good stuff. Cody, for the love of God, go heel. You're Cody Rhodes now. Cody couldn't challenge for the championship, but Cody Rhodes can. They're going to do that. They're going to fucking do that at some point. Then Team Taz shows up. Well, man, Taz's promos have reached new heights. If only Taz himself could do that. Cage and Starks attack from behind. Cage takes Darby into, just this area where there just happened to be that box where, Moxley and Omega went through it, at the last Full Gear. You remember that garbage hardcore match that some people loved and other people hated? Guess which camp I'm in, since I called it garbage. Tosses him into there. They go to toss him onto the Mazda. They put him on there, and then they're going to actually take the door and, break his arm. And then Will Hobbs just suddenly shows up. Will Hobbs is like, oh, it's my cue. I got to run in. And chases him off. Cool. It was a good match, though. The beatdown I could have done a little bit without. Or at least the extent they went. I get why they're doing it. Starks versus Darby, I'm all for. And I did like the fact that they teased Starks and Cage having a little bit of an issue with the pull apart there. And then we get Dustin and QT. It's going to be a bunkhouse match against the Butcher and the Blade. Maybe the Bunny's going to get involved. That's a nice bouncy bunny. I really need to stop being so, like I am, except I can't possibly be. Allie's a beautiful woman, and her and the Blade seem very happy together, and that's fucking great. Then we get Penta versus Rey Fenix, for Dynamite next week. Ty Conte with Anna Jay versus Red Velvet with Cody's Nepotism Project. And then we get Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida, AEW Women's Championship. It's the red of Shida versus the blue of Nyla Rose. You would have thought that Vicky Guerrero would have been cheering for Hikaru Shida, considering she's a bit conservative with her views. Vicky Guerrero, can we trade Eddie for Vicky? Just have Vicky take Eddie's place? Seriously. Vicky hasn't been valuable to wrestling, or really to anything, for a while. We could have Eddie back. Eddie's missed. I miss Eddie. Don't you guys miss Eddie? Moving on. Referee Aubrey. This actually started out fine. It started fine. You had Nyla Rose taking a bit more offense than she should, because she should be a beast. And Nyla at first was selling. Now, at first she was. And then they just lost it. This match went totally off the rails. Now, I like Shida. This is one of the worst matches I've seen Shida have. I do like Shida. And I like Nyla. I wanted Nyla to win. I actually thought she would. become a 2-time AEW Women's Champion. But this didn't work. Nyla was targeting the leg. At first it was okay. She was selling the leg, and then she stopped selling the leg, and then she would sell the leg. And it's had so many false finishes that weren't needed. This should have been half the time that it was. Nyla should have made quick impact and beaten her. Or they should have had, Hikaru Shida do a flash knee strike or something and get the victory. They did this awkward thing where, Vicky kept interfering. And, of course, Vicky's targeting another minority because, of course, she does. Because she supports Trump. Because, she's a goddamn conservative dumb bitch. I don't care, by the way, if you guys have a goddamn problem with that. Hi, you guys can leave if you don't fucking like it. I'm going to state my opinions all I fucking want. Vicky's a goddamn idiot. Vicky, I vote for the wall, Guerrero. That's great, Vicky. Get over the wall and actually do something on your own instead of the same shtick you've been doing for the last 10 goddamn years. And then maybe we can talk. Maybe you can actually have an opinion on world events when you aren't copying something, the same damn thing you did in another company that got stale after about the first 6 months. Moving on. Nyla went with a knee drop to the back, that great leg drop, diving knee drop she does off the ropes. Then missile drop kick, a kick out at one, Falcon Arrow, and then she pulls her up. Shida does. I'm sorry, this is where they really started to lose me, because Shida was just going with no selling. Nyla was going with no selling. It didn't work. Vicky then gets knocked down. Very awkward. More knees. Shida wins eventually with a very lazy finish. And I like Shida and I like Nyla. This did not work for me. This is one of the worst women's matches I've seen as far as like big stakes. And then Vicky yells at Nyla and slaps her, but it didn't lead to Vicky being laid out. It's eventually going to lead to Vicky being laid out, but it is what it is. Anyway, FTR versus the Bucks, AEW Tag Team Championship match, the Clash of the Century. I want to say right now that this had elements of a really damn good match in it, and while I don't think that it was quite the hype, quite reached the hype that people thought it would, I will say that it was damn good in parts. I like the selling. I do laugh at the fact that Nick Jackson just went into no-sell mode and everything, and, became Dick the Buck or, Buck Hogan. And yeah, if you know where I got those from, you know where I got those from. I also want to say right now that the Bucks are not the best tag team in the world, but see, they also were involved in one of my favorite matches of the year, the match against Paige and Omega at Revolution. But they're also conservative right-wing jackasses, so, really, I can't respect them there for that. By the way, if the Bucks lost, they would not challenge for the championships again, and Tully Blanchard was barred from ringside, because Tully kept interfering. They finally just said, oh yeah, we need to do the Tully, go sit backstage. We can't have you out there, man. Tully, we can't have you out there. Everybody's going to do flippy shit. You can't get out of the way. You're not a young man anymore, Tully. Get off our lawn, old man. Go to bed, old man. I don't know what I'm on about anymore. They kept, Dax's hand at one point got split and hit on the ring post, which looked really bad. So it's like no flips, split fists. I saw that in the movie once, by the way. Do you want to know about it? No, you really don't. Powerplex was countered. Once the hot tag happened, it was kind of a lame hot tag. They built up to it really nice, and then it was kind of a lame hot tag. They then were spamming everything. They did the heart attack, the diving bulldog from the Steiners, a heart attack from the Hart Foundation. Wheeler spearing Nick outside in a pretty good move. There were a lot of cool near falls, a lot of cool callbacks, Twist of Fate and Swanton. And then the stage dive. We get the sharpshooters, which was cool. One on the stage and one, in the ring. And it's like, oh, maybe we're going to get the FTR tap out. Nope, that wasn't a finish. So we had to go another about 8 minutes or something like that. Just BTE trigger, and then Cash breaks it up. And look, there was some good stuff here again, but it just got to the point where it was oversaturation with the near falls. It was like an All Japan 1990s tag match, except All Japan did it better. Because FTR is really talented, and the Bucks are talented when they have the right people to work with. But we get, a figure four into an ankle lock. We get some really good stuff. 450 by Nick. We get a 450 by Cash with a misses. Super kick for 3. A super kick from a guy with an injured ankle. Apparently Matt's actually really dealing with like bad ACL and bad MCL. So I actually hope he's okay. I actually hope that if he needs surgery, they find a way to push that off. But they had to win here. Omega comes out in flip-flops and shorts to celebrate with them. And they don't drink. You know what? As much as I knock the Bucks and Omega, for their views and for the fact I don't really care for a lot of their wrestling, I care for some. One thing I'm not going to knock them for is being straight edge. If you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do that stuff, fine. Nothing wrong with that. You should live a clean lifestyle if you want. If you want to do that stuff, it's fine. But I live a clean lifestyle, no alcohol, no drinks, that kind of stuff. Or no alcohol, no pills, that kind of stuff. I don't even like to take them. But anyway, this was a good match, but I don't think matched the hype. Here's what, unfortunately, was bullshit and pretty much wrecked the next match for me. The Elite Deletion match. I want to say right now that this is what I thought of this match. I'm tearing up my previous notes. Even though I liked quite a bit of the pay-per-view, this is the moment where I said, okay, it wasn't as bad as the Haunted House of Terror match, but it was still really goddamn dog shit. So I'm actually, you know what, I'm not going to throw them up. I'm just going to put that there. This was atrocious. Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara, it's a callback to the whole Delete, Decay, broken universe thing and stuff like that. The stuff that was cool the first couple times you saw it. I didn't even care for it, but I appreciated Matt for having the, investment and doing all the stuff to, get it off the ground. But the commentary, by the way, JR didn't sound like he gave a shit. Excalibur was trying his damnedest. Shivani's just like, oh, this is great. Shivani didn't care. And I like Shivani. The Hardy compound, cinematic. There's a golf cart, because we got the golf cart thing. Why was there a golf cart there? I know the Hardy compound's probably big, but do they need a golf cart? Is it like the house from The Haunting of Bly Manor? Don't watch that, by the way, if you expect something scary. It's not really scary. We get holograms from the droid. Help me, Obi-Wan Guevara. You're my only hope. So, monster truck, can shots of the head, great. Just what Matt needs is to take more shots of the head. I know why they did this cinematic. They didn't want something to happen like what happened at All Out. And I'm glad that everybody was on board with this. If you guys found this entertaining, that's fine. I fucking hate it. I absolutely fucking hated it. The ring bell just suddenly happened. Where'd the ring bell come from? Was it in the arena and they piped it in? What happened? And then they fight in the woods, and then, Matt gets his wood all over Sammy's face. The trees, I mean. Get your minds out of the gutter. I run a clean show. If you believe that, you clearly have not been listening to the last 17 minutes. Stupid music. Very stupid music choices. This is as bad as WWE's cinematic matches. It is because they overdid those. I understand everybody was having fun, and I hope that everybody really enjoyed it, but just no. This did not work for me. I don't know why I'm calling these spots. We get the Scepter of Mephistopheles in the fountain. Right there was where I'm like, you know what? I almost want to turn the pay-per-view off right here. There's entertainment, but I didn't find this entertaining. By the way, Ortiz and Santana suddenly attack. There's a ring in the woods. Kind of call back to when the Hardys train on a ring in the woods and stuff like that. And then also the fact that, this is from where the whole Delete, Decay, Broken Universe, all that stuff, everything happened. Final deletion, all that. Private Party then arrives in just an SUV somewhere and runs. Seemingly finds the place really quickly. This is horrendous. Fireworks. Sammy and Matt are just launching fireworks at each other. What the fuck is going on? Why? Why is this happening? This stuff was old by 2017. It's not any better now. Now Matt's just trying to do what he can to basically hang on. Matt Hardy should have retired about 2 years ago. He's not any good anymore. He's not. I mean, I don't want him to be unable to walk. You have to be cleansed. Okay, Matt. Could have probably chosen better words there. And then suddenly Gangrel shows up. David Heath. I believe that's his actual name. I think his last name is Heath. He shows up with Hurricane. Apparently that's a callback to something that happened with Hurricane being trapped by somebody. It was Gangrel the whole time. Gangrel, by the way, who's in better shape than Luther. And Gangrel's been around a whole lot longer. Like, as far as mainstream. What the fuck's Luther done? Yeah, but then Lake of Reincarnation. Then Helms comes out as Gregory Helms, the reporter. And then tossed back in, he's Hurricane again. Hey, it all. To the garage. To the window. To the wall. In the ring, tables, ladders, a dive off through the table. More bad music. And then a table bump. Sammy's bleeding from the back of the head because we have to have that callback. I think it was fake blood. I hope to God it was fake blood. Concrete Concerto. Private Party puts Sammy in the bin. And Senior Benjamin takes him out. Wait, let me try this again. Here, let me see. Here, that is what I gotta say to this. If this was on WWE television, it would get killed. And rightfully fucking so. This was shit. By the way, Archer and Jake Robertson are suddenly in a back alley, and Jake Roberts says he's not hungry for food, he's hungry for people. Jake Roberts apparently has indicated that Lance Archer is a cannibal. Shout out to a friend of mine on Twitter, by the way. for saying, well, it worked for Jeff Cobb. Shout out, great old Lucha Underground reference, Matanza. Jericho versus MJF. If MJF wins, he joins the Inner Circle. I did not like this because Jericho, the concussed conservative that he is, the goddamn he's probably going to drink himself into a stupor because the person he donated to didn't win. And oh no, we're going to cry and everything. We're going to be all upset and shut the fuck up. Don't fucking care. Don't fucking care if you're upset. I'll lose subscribers. I don't give a good goddamn. I'm willing to listen to different views. I don't care. It ain't a liberal, conservative thing. It ain't all this. Let me get on my soapbox. It ain't different ideals. If you think Donald Trump was a good goddamn president, was a good choice to run this country for 4 years or 8 years, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot, and I don't need you in my life, and I don't want you on my goddamn channel. So fuck every single one of you for believing that. I cut out family members of mine. You think you got any goddamn chance? Anyway, Jericho physically looks like shit and can't do anything anymore. He does his ring post spot. MJF tried. What you got, bitch? At one point, that was actually pretty funny. Submission counters, and then we get a heat seeker for 2. And eventually, Wardlow runs down and hands the ring. Okay, so Jericho counters that. Suddenly, Hager is just somewhere there, tosses Floyd the Bat, and tries to do that. But MJF does the Eddie Guerrero spot. Oh no, he hit him with the bat. Aubrey's like, what the hell are you doing? And then roll up with the tights. 1, 2, 3. MJF joins the Inner Circle, along with Wardlow. Cool. I'm amazed that MJF's going to have to take it from Jericho at some point. That really sounded a lot less dirty in my head, but that's what's going to happen. Revolution ad, by the way, February 27, 2021. Provided the world is still around, Yellowstone hasn't blown up, or aliens from Mars or Venus or even Uranus are not coming to probe us. Revolution, though, hey, I had liked one of the matches from last year, and actually, Moxley versus Jericho is pretty good. So then Dasha interviews Orange Cassidy and the best friends. Miro and Kip suddenly interrupt. This feud will not die. It's over an arcade machine named Allin. Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. I quit match for the AEW World title. I'm going to fuck you up was the first line from Eddie Kingston during the introductions. This is good stuff. They both start just beating the shit out of each other. This was great. This was one of my favorite matches of the year list. Now, there's no way it could live up to the fact that they were going to do, just incredibly dark things to each other. But they did the best they could on a major broadcast. Do I understand why some people may not like this? Yes, I do. I'm not a fan of garbage wrestling, hardcore wrestling, that kind of stuff. But I gotta say I like this because they told a personal story. They were willing to do what they could to each other. Whatever they could. Eddie Kingston had to win it. He had to turn dark. And Moxley wanted his best friend back. But had to beat the shit out of his best friend to get that going. And hard hits. Tracy Smothers mentioned. Rest in peace, Tracy Smothers. He influenced a whole lot of wrestlers that he worked with. And then, people he gave advice to. Younger wrestlers, from all accounts, really, really good guy. I never got to meet him, but really, really good, and rest in peace. Cancer's a goddamn bitch. Moxley's bleeding. Barbed wire bat to Eddie's head and stomach, and he's bleeding from the mouth. Internal injuries, or maybe he just was bleeding from the mouth. Chair to the head, we get a barbed wire fist. Instant fisting action. We get a Kimura, but then Moxley's biting him. We get some really good stuff here. Suplex on the chair, bag of tacks. This is kind of where I lost it. Throw on the tacks. Ouch. Rubbing alcohol on Mox's wounds. Okay, bold. Really fucking bold. Really, really fucking bold. Renee, by the way, Moxley's wife, you should check out her Twitter because goddamn, she was so pissed off. We get the choke. We get the pile driver. Bulldog choke. Paradigm shift. Bulldog, he puts the wire on him and says, can't get him to quit. Puts the wire, does this, and Moxley gets Eddie to say, I quit. Show respect attempt. Eddie walks off, stumbles off. And then Omega shows up to remind Mox that I'm going to face you at some point. Probably going to face him before the end of the year. I got to say, though, the Elite Deletion match was absolute dog shit, and there were a couple other things I did not like. Cassidy versus John Silver almost just felt like it was a dark or a dynamite match that they put on the pay-per-view. And even then, I didn't really care for it. I thought it was a waste of time, but the Elite Deletion match was easily the biggest waste of time of any wrestling program. It would have been on any wrestling program. I mean, it's not the worst cinematic match, fucking hell no. WWE did that with the Haunted House of Terror, but it was overly done, it was ridiculous. Anyway, though, overall, damn good, positive, a lot more positives for this pay-per-view. So, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.